Hey guys, what's going on today? BOJoeKO here, and we are ready to start our NHL 15 GM Mode series. Now, first off, before we pick our team, gotta explain something, little thing to you guys. So, thank you guys to all the people that did vote on our GM vote winner for that video I put out for you guys a couple weeks ago about voting for the next GM Mode team. The winner was the Arizona Coyotes. However, a certain YouTuber, whose name shall not be mentioned in this video, which most of you guys are probably subscribed to anyway, decided to make his GM mode the Arizona Coyotes as well. So, for the lack of my sanity, and for the sake of you guys not watching, because more than likely most of you guys are subscribed to him as well, for the sake of you guys not watching the same type of GM mode twice, I will not be doing the Arizona Coyotes, even though they did win the GM mode vote. So, at a technicality, the next team on our list to choose would be the New York Islanders. However, I'd rather not do the New York Islanders because in my Be a Pro series, which if it has come out already, make sure you guys are continuing to watch or follow that series. If it hasn't come out yet, stay tuned for that. I'm doing a Be a Pro with the New York Islanders team franchise, so I'm not going to be doing that team either, even though they were the second team on the list. So, out of a technicality number 3, the third most popular team on that list was actually the Vancouver Canucks. Actually, you know what? No, it wasn't. Yes, yeah, it was. It was the Vancouver Canucks. I thought it was the Toronto Maple Leafs, but actually, I was told not to do Toronto for some odd reason because I know somebody else is doing Toronto, and I decided to give them to that. So, we're going to be doing the Vancouver Canucks, which should be a pretty interesting team to do as well. So, I've already recorded that GM mode prior to that person putting it out, so I know a little bit of the ins and outs of it, so I'll guide you guys through some of the new features of GM mode in this episode. So, we're going to use the Vancouver Canucks, 88 overall for offense, 91 for defense, 91 for goaltending. Their AHL affiliate is the Utica Comets. Top 3 players on the team, Ryan Miller, Daniel Sedin, and Dan Hamhuis. They have 67.7 mil worth of team cap space, 26 players in the organization, average age of 28. So let's go to the Vancouver and let's start this GM mode. All right, so let's get all our settings set up right here. Authentic cap hit penalties, we're going to throw that on. Auto sign free agents via GM length, we're going to set that to 10. Computer trades, difficulty all the way up to superstar. Draft pick ownership, I changed this to classic before. I'm going to leave this authentic because I like the trades that go on throughout the year. So each team gets the team's draft picks from like prior trades that we've seen in real life. All right, game style, we're going to put that to hardcore, obviously. Injuries are going to turn off. NHL salary cap on. Period length, 20 minutes. Trade difficulty on hard as always. And waivers are going to be on. Rules, I think all this is good. And then advanced settings, auto-rotate goalies are on. Assistant coach edit lines, I'm going to put that on no. And I think trade offers, gameplay version, and waiver notifications are on. All right, so that's, whoopsie-daisy. That's all good to go. And, yep, GM BOJoeKO. Yep, we're good to go. All right, so keep the salary cap on. There you go. It'll adjust the teams. And so we'll get started with our Vancouver Canucks GM mode. So I'll guide you guys through some of the new features of GM mode first, and then we'll go take a look at the team and see about what we can do with this Vancouver Canucks team. Because honestly, I'm kind of wondering what we could do here with the Vancouver Canucks. So here's the new GM mode screen. If you guys have not seen it yet, it's using up the whole screen this time, not like miniaturized or a mini schedule or anything like that. It's much cleaner, I would say. I like the new screen layout. So we have the sim to the next game here, the calendar. I'll show you guys that really quickly. So I believe you can simulate games. Like you could technically go all the way back to like NHL 14 style of simulation where you could actually simulate through the calendar, so you could actually simulate up to that day in November if you wanted to. So we might consider doing something like that just so we know we can get through the season quicker. But you guys can let me know if you want to see the simulated going through that, because we're not going to simulate games for right now. Here's the Stats Central. The Stats Central shows all the teams that are in your conference on that mini thing down there. So it shows your team stats, your player stats, and then the awards, which list up to 5 years this year. So they added an extra year onto the all the awards as well as the player awards for the teams throughout the season. So that's cool. League news, that's like right here, the required box, I guess you could say, to advance a day. Optional boxes to assign the scout, trade players, and assign the players. So I think I would have to simulate up a couple days for the scout to take effect. So let me do that right now. Simulating does seem to be a little bit quicker than it usually is. So let's simulate up to the 6th here. Okay, so salary cap stuff, salary cap, yep. And waivers, yep. And let's edit the scouting assignment. Okay, so here is the new scouting assignment screen for you guys to take a look at right here. They're showing like a whole entire world map that shows each country that you can scout for hockey players. And as you guys can see, with each individual kind of continent or mini continent or mini league, it shows you how many players are actually in that league, as well as the accuracy of your scout in that specific area. So we know the first couple drafts are always very high, even though I'm not entirely sure if you could draft players or not. Regardless, we're not going to worry about that for right now. Obviously, the first couple drafts are always highly Canadian filled. So Vancouver, if I would have to think about what the Vancouver Canucks need, I think they would need defense pretty good. So you know what? I think we can go for the defensive prospects in the WHL. So we'll check these out. And here's the new breakdown of the WHL league. So you can obviously assign what positions you want to scout for. It's kind of the same thing, assignment duration. You got your regional scouting accuracy, which shows your scout. You can probably upgrade that in your GM tracker probably throughout the year, if I can find that anywhere. Your assignment duration, obviously if you increase the assignment duration, it's going to take a percentage off of either your regular season scouting. So like I said, probably once it reaches 100%, or 16% or whatever, when it reaches up to 100%, you guys can obviously see that that's how long it's going to take to scout that entire area. So we're going to start with defensemen in the WHL for 6 weeks, and we'll confirm this assessment in the scouting thing, and we'll go to the scouting thing and go check that out pretty shortly. If I can find it, Anthony Mantha, there's some new updates being managed around, and I think that's just league settings, and not really sure where the scouting thing is. If I go to assign scouts, can I... Is there anything to do here? That's rest of the world. Nobody's in there. Okay, I'll figure it out eventually. I'm still getting kind of used to. Oh, here it is. Brought me right to the screen. So, we're currently scouting players in the WHL. So these are the players that are going to be coming up, and we'll view all the prospects in the region. So as you guys can see, you sort it by all the players here. You can obviously sort it by player position, but here are all the players that we are going to be scouting in the WHL for those 6 weeks. So, and then you can actually, it's pretty cool if you see somebody you actually want to take note of, like for example, let's sort it by potential, which I will get to soon. Let's go by potential here for defensemen. So take Ryan Pylon, for example. If we wanted to go him, we can actually pin Ryan Pylon to a watch list, and it shows you like that little watch icon that comes onto it, kind of like when you're in HUT and you wanted to watch a certain type of card go by. You can do that, and he will be on your watch list, and you could probably just view your watch list type players. So that's pretty cool. I'll show you guys the potential in a minute, but that's what is going to be pretty awesome about watching. And it actually shows the binoculars next to the person too, so probably it'll say how many teams are actually watching that specific player. So as you continue to scout more players, you might want to take some tips from other teams, and might want to go scout those players as well. So I kind of like the prospect system. It looks pretty. I don't know how good it's going to be if there's no draft. If there are no, I would say there's your watch or scouted players. So I don't know if there's going to be drafting or not, but if there is, knows it could be actually something pretty cool. Okay, so we got that out of the way. Let's go take a look at now let's go take a look at the contract screen. Actually, no, we'll do that last. We want to do all of our kind of mini things about GM mode first. Tradings and improvements. We'll do this one first. Obviously, the trading block is right here, scouting and free agents. That's where we just were. So we can edit your trading block. Obviously, you can edit certain guys that are on your trading block right now. We have our two first-round picks, as well as Brendan Gaunt's up there. Your depth chart's listed up here, so you can see how many players you have for each position, your wants and your surplus. I think you can't search your trade block from right there. I think you could browse trading blocks, which would be other teams, I believe. Yeah, other teams, trading blocks. And if you wanted to select that, obviously you get trade for asset, and you get taken to the trading screen there. Trading values are a little bit different in this game. We'll get to that maybe by episode number 2 when we have to probably make a trade or two. But that's pretty much it. Manage rosters is basically the same thing as last year. It shows you all your forward lines. It's on a mini timing system, so it will switch over when that mini time runs out. Obviously, roster moves, captains, jerseys, injury reports, and progress reports are back once again. Yeah, it's same thing as last year. It's not individual. I'm not sure if they're going to be individual. Oh yeah, it's still individual stats that shows you each little thing. That's cool. That's another thing too. Full career statistics. It shows you all the stats for each of those players throughout his entire NHL career. So if you want to look back as far as you possibly can, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think that's about it. Roster moves. Yeah, we're good with that. And I think that's about it. All right, so we'll obviously, if there's comes some new things I want to talk about, we'll definitely take that in consideration. But let's look at the contract screen for the Vancouver Canucks. We're going to take a look at all the contracts for the Vancouver Canucks, as well as talk about the new potential system, progression system, and stuff like that. So let's go to the main roster. Here first, we'll start on the goaltenders for the Vancouver Canucks, as we have two pretty solid goaltenders for this year for the Vancouver Canucks with Ryan Miller and Eddie Lack. So first off, we'll start with this new potential system, and we'll use Eddie Lack as an example. So as you guys can see, the potential system now clearly states that Ryan Miller is exact and Ryan Miller is exact and Eddie Lack is medium. They're both considered NHL starters. Now, Eddie Lack has a medium potential, meaning that he has a medium, his kind of chances of becoming an NHL starter are medium. They still have player roles in this game. If you go and click on to the players' whole entire statistics, it'll show you that Eddie Lack still is considered a backup goalie. And if we go on Ryan Miller, he's still a starting goalie. But it's just that potential system, which is kind of weird, meaning that medium, in a sense, is kind of like the 3.5 yellow stars of last year, if you would say so. So 3.5, 4, whatever you want to say. So Eddie Lack, if you play him the right way, play him in a backup role, he has a medium potential of eventually turning into an NHL starter. So that's kind of what the potential system goes by. I'll run by other stuff if we run up across it, maybe like lows and highs. There's only 4 types, which would be exact, meaning like those are white stars. He's not going anywhere. He's just going to be staying an NHL starter for the rest of his career. Green, and then red as well. So Vancouver, we have $2.6 million worth of cap space available. We have a retained salary of $0.8 mil. I believe that is from the buyout of David Booth, I would think. I think that's who it's for. We have 50 out of 50 contracts, so if we have any unsigned players, we're going to have a little bit of trouble there. But goaltending, it's looking pretty solid. Ryan Miller's an 89 overall, and Eddie Lack is at 84. It's really 2 solid goaltenders. Both of those guys, we have them for 2 more years at least. So goaltending is looking pretty good. If we go to in the system guys for goaltending, Jacob Markstrom, see, he has the medium potential of becoming an elite goaltender. So that could be pretty cool. That could be pretty amazing if we play Jacob Markstrom the same way. He's considered a backup goaltender. So either play Eddie Lack or play Jacob Markstrom. See, Jacob Markstrom, he has the potential to become an elite player, so that might mean that Jacob Markstrom has like a 4.5 gold stars, and Eddie Lack only has like a 3.5 or a 4 gold stars. So that's kind of what you have to kind of use your head. Use the potential to your advantage and think about what the star potential could be in the last game. As well, we have, I think this is Jonathan, BOJoeKO Eriksson as well, and Joe Canada. So Canada and Eriksson are both 20. All 3 of these guys are 24 years old. We all have them for 1 more year as well, all RFAs. But so Jacob Markstrom might be somebody you want to hold on to. You know, we could give this guy a chance. He is considered a backup goaltender, so we have 3 goaltenders that we want to settle here. BOJoeKO Eriksson is a minor league backup, and I think Canada is a other goaltender. Okay, so in this system, we got 3 solid goaltenders there. You might have 1 extra goaltender that we might want to trade, a guy like Eddie Lack or Jacob Markstrom, something along those lines for trade bait. So the goaltending situation is pretty solid here in Vancouver. All right, so now we move on to the defensemen here. So we got Dan Hamhuis, Kevin Bieksa, Alexander Edler, Lucas Spiza, Christopher Tanev, Ryan Ryan Stanton, I think. Yeah, Ryan Stanton and Yannick Weber. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7 defensemen right here. So if we had to choose, it would probably be Hamhuis, Bieksa, Edler, Spiza, Tanev, and then Stanton. So it looks like we do have our elite defenseman in Dan Hamhuis, who's 88 overall, 4.5 for another 2 years. Bieksa, same thing around with him, 4.6 for another 2 years. 33 years old for Juice, but he's still a solid. He's a two-way or is he defensive? He's a defensive defenseman. He's got a good defensive category there. 86 overalls for him, not bad. Hamhuis, he's going to be a nice little top 2 defenseman to have on our team. Actually, he's only considered a top 4, but he is an elite goaltender. So he still has the potential to get better. Remember, just because the potential says elite doesn't mean they can't get better. It's the same thing as last year. It's kind of like the star potentials are kind of wiped out. But BX is a top 4. Edler is a top 4, I believe, as well. Okay, then we got Lucas Spiza coming over here from the Anaheim Ducks in the Ryan Kessler trade. He has the low potential just because he's still under the age of 26. So it's still the same way. Once you hit to 26, you still have your potential. So he might have like 4 gold, 4 red stars, 3.5 red star type of player. So Lucas Spiza does have a low chance of becoming a top 6 defenseman, even though he already is a top 4 defenseman. So he obviously can still get better. Christopher Tanev, medium potential, top 6 defenseman for him. Ryan Stanton is the 7th defenseman. Yannick Weber is also a 7th defenseman. So we're kind of missing 1 top 6 defenseman on this team. Might even want to make a trade for like a top 2 defenseman if all possible. But their defense actually isn't too bad. You got Hamhuis, BX, and Edler who are all above 85. Spiza and Tanev, yeah, you could get away with one of those guys playing top 6. More over Tanev than Spiza. But actually, I think Tanev is top 6. Yeah, so you have Tanev there. Spiza is top 4. So you could have Hamhuis, Bieksa, Edler, Spiza, and then you need one more top 6 defenseman to round out the Vancouver Canucks team. So that's not bad. In the system, who we got for defense here? We got Frankie Corrado, I believe. Yep, Frankie Corrado, who's top 4 potential there, 78 already, so that's not bad. Bobby Sanguinetti, Anderson, Beige, Tomarins, Stewart, Jordan Subban's down there as well, Cedarholm, and Liberati. So 3 of those guys are unsigned. Subban maybe want to consider signing a guy like Jordan Subban. Who knows? You might have to trade some of those players away. But potential-wise, you got Corrado, who's 21, Anderson, who's 23, Subban, who's only 19, and Liberati, who's 19 as well. So you got 3 decent defensemen there who are under the age of 23. Tomarins, yeah, it doesn't look like he could be, like, you also need to think about your AHL defensemen as well, so they could always turn out to be pretty good. But defensemen, you got maybe 3 solid prospects there in defense, so not bad. Alright, so let's go back to the main roster here, and let's take a look at our right wingers now for the Canucks. So we got Radim Verbata, Alexander Burrows, Yannick Hansen, Zach Kassian, and Derek Dorsett. So we got a nice little solid group here of right wingers. Zach Kassian, the only right winger there with the high potential to become a top 6 forward, so a power forward in Zach Kassian will work out pretty good. Radim Verbata might actually work out on that top pair, even though he is a second line forward. 33 years old, he could be working with both of the Sedin twins, so he's going to be that sniper on the first line that you need to score goals. He has the potential to score goals. High 80s for his shot. He's a pretty quick player, so Verbata could definitely work on that top line. Alexander Burrows, this guy's been sticking around Vancouver for a while. 2-way forward, yeah, top 6 type of forward. He's a third-line scorer, so same thing for him. Yannick Hansen. A lot of 2-way forward players on this team. Yannick Hansen, even though he's a grinder, third-liner. Zach Kassian, I believe he's a third-liner as well. Top 6 forward, third-line scorer. They have him as a third-line scorer. He's a power forward. And Derek Dorsett, the kind of chippy grinder, fourth-line forward there for Dorsett. Okay, and then in the system, we got Nick Jensen, who is 79 overall, 2-way, top 6 potential, medium potential for him at 21 years old. Archibald and Grenier, Grenier, bottom 6 forward. So those 3 guys are pretty good. Jensen might be one of those players you might want to look out potential-wise. So he's already 79 overall. He's already better than Derek Dorsett. So, he could potentially make it onto this team if we find a spot, if we need some more scorers on this team. But honestly, right wingers look pretty good. Left wingers now. Okay, so we got Daniel Sedin, obviously elite, Chris Higgins, Dustin Jeffrey, and Tom Sezatov, Tostito Chip, Tom Tostito. All right, so Sedin, obviously $7 million, making for another 1, 2, 3, 4, yes, 4 years, 34 years old. The Canucks are kind of an older team, so They have a couple young guys, but not many young guys. Their defense is fairly young, but their offense is a little bit older in age. Higgins, he's 85 overall. I don't know how Chris Higgins got an 85 overall. He is a sniper. Not the greatest shooting category, but, that's a little bit weird. Daniel Sedin, obviously the other sniper on that first line. So 2 snipers now with Verbata, Sedin, and Henrik Sedin. So that's going to be pretty decent there. Dustin Jeffrey does have low potential to become a bottom 6 forward. He is a depth forward right now. So you could probably move up a guy like Nicholas Jensen. Was Nicholas Jensen actually rated as he's a depth forward. Okay, so interesting. Interesting. Okay, so we got done with those guys. Let's look at in the system guys for left wingers, and we got a bunch of guys here with high star potential for the Vancouver Canucks. So we got Michael Zawiski, who was undrafted. I'm not sure where this guy came from. Vancouver Canucks fans can let me know where this guy came from. But 75 overall, 22 years old, bottom 6 forward is high. What is his? He's a 2-way forward. Okay, we have who's this guy? Ronald's Kennis, and also another undrafted guy. He has the potential to be a top 9 forward. He is a 2-way forward again. Hunter Shinkaruk is right here. He has the potential to become elite, so that's pretty good. Minor league scoring forward, obviously with medium potential, even though he has elite potential, which is really good. Lane, who is this guy? Kellen Lane, a grinder, bottom 6 type of forward at 25 years old. I don't know if he's going to get up there. Bill Sweat. Another forward, he's already 26, kind of old bit. Brandon DeFazio, 71 overall. He's already considered a 4th-line forward. He is a grinder, so he's probably got a physical category that lifts him up. Yep. Jake Virtanen, right here, the nice little rookie sniper here. Potential to become a top 6 forward, so that's pretty good. And then Mallet, a top 6 AHL forward, Alex Mallet. So you got the guys like Virtanen and Shinkaruk who could become pretty good for this team. And then you got nice little 2-way forwards and grinders like Zawiski and Keynes on the team as well. Okay, so not bad. And we'll move over to the centers here for the final players here. So we got Henrik Sedin, Nick Bonino, Sean Matthias, Brad Richardson, and Lyndon Vey. So Henrik Sedin, the elite center there. Once again, 7 mils, making the same thing as Sedin. Nick Bonino coming over from the Anaheim Ducks as well. Looks like a solid 2-way forward center here that they got. Second liner at least. Top 6 potential. He's 26. So both of these guys, Nick Bonino and Sean Matthias, kind of have the same kind of outlook. Matthias is a power forward. He's got some good face-offs. He's a good third-line checker kind of forward. Brad Richardson, maybe like a 3rd or a 4th-liner player. And then Lyndon Vey as well. Could be a kind of depth forward for 23 years old. So you might want to play this guy maybe in the minors. Okay, and then in the system for centers, we have Bo Horvat, who could become a top 6 kind of forward. Cal O'Reilly, top 9. Brendan Gaunt's a top 6 forward. Alex Rodin, Dane Fox, who has high potential as well. Is that Jared McCann? Yes, it is Jared McCann. Cole Castles and Petit. So center position is looking really good for the Vancouver Canucks for prospect-wise. They're looking pretty good. Cal O'Reilly, I don't know why he's rated up there so high as becoming a top 9 forward. That's kind of weird at 28 years old. Gaunt's, like I said, Gaunt's Rodin, and it's not Alex Rodin, Anton Rodin, yeah. And then that is Dane Fox, right? Yes, it is, with that slick flow of Dane Fox. So prospects are looking pretty good for the Vancouver Canucks in center-wise, I would say. So they're looking pretty good in center. They have some nice prospects on this team, which I will give them. But, they're kind of a little bit up there in age. They might have a bunch of extra players on this team. They have a lot of players that I don't think are being utilized on this team. So I think there is the potential to make some trades on this team. So let's go to wherever I have the line setups here. That would be manage rosters. And I can edit the lines for this team. And let's see what they have as the starting lineup for these teams, and we'll see. Would you like assistant coach will update your... I'm going to turn that off. Okay, so here are the lines that the Vancouver Canucks have set up right now. So they got the Sedin twins with Ram Verbata on the right. Then they got Chris Higgins with Nick Bonino and Zach Kassian. Alexander Burrows with Sean Matthias and Yannick Hansen. And then Tom Sestito with Brad Richardson and Derek Dorsett. So are we sitting anybody on this team as of right now? We are not playing Yannick Weber on defense, and we're not playing Lyndon Vey, nor are we playing Dustin Jeffrey as well. So Jeffrey, Lyndon Vey, and Yannick Weber are not being played. So I could see us moving like Lyndon Vay down to the minors to get some experience. That wouldn't be bad. Dustin Jeffrey, yeah, he's kind of gritty as player, but I don't think he has much discipline. Actually, he does have a lot of good discipline. I didn't think he had much. He has 89. That's pretty good. His defensive category isn't that great. What is he? He's a two-way forward? He's not too bad. He's got decent defensive category. So those are 3 of those guys that aren't being played. If I would look on this team, what are we missing? The first line looks good. You got the Sedins there. Verbata could be that kind of player that plays alongside him. Even though he's a second liner, an older type of player. We want to get younger on this team. Second line looks pretty good. You got Benino in the center. You got Higgins, who's a sniper beside him. I would like a playmaker up there, but Cassian could work. You can move Cassian down to the third line as well, which means you can move a guy like Burrows or Hansen down to the fourth, and then you could get rid of Sestito and Sestito or Dorsett. So if I would think about something to maybe add to this Vancouver Canucks team, I think it would be maybe like a second line right wing playmaker alongside of Nick Bonino and Chris Higgins. So that way you can have Sean Matthias a power forward, Zach Cassian a power forward, and Alexander Burrows as a two-way forward on your third line. Have a nice defensive third line, and then you have a really good defensive fourth line with Brad Richardson, Yannick Hansen, and then Derek Dorsett or Tom Sestito or Dustin Jeffrey down there on the fourth. So offense is looking good. If I had to add something, it probably would be a right-wing playmaker. Okay, on defense now we got Dan Ham, Hughes, Kevin Bieksa, Edler, Spiza, Stanton. So they want Ryan Stanton playing and Christopher Tanev. So for defense, a top 6 defenseman to play alongside Christopher Tanev. Fairly young. Other than Spiza and Tanev, none of these defensemen are really that young. They have a kind of older defensive core with Ham, Hughes, Bieksa, and Edler all up there coming around 30. Edler's still pretty good age at 28, but Ham, Hughes is 31, Juice is 33, Stanton's only 25, but he's considered a 7th defenseman, so you might not want to play this guy. So a top 6 defenseman would be pretty good, and then goaltenders. Obviously, they have Ryan Miller and Eddie Lack playing in goaltending, but Jacob Markstrom could be another player that we put in there as well. So there is the entire kind of mini preview for the Vancouver Canucks team. Let me know what you guys think. I think we'll go do definitely some trading, or maybe scouting for some trading next time around. But that's kind of our mini preview for this Vancouver Canucks team. Sorry for the people that actually did want to see the Arizona Coyotes, but like I said, there's a YouTuber whose name shall not be mentioned who has a series going on as well. So if you want to watch that, go ahead. But we'll do the Vancouver Canucks, and we'll see if we can have just as a good enough time with this one as well. All right, so thanks guys for watching. Leave your suggestions in the comment section down below if you guys do agree with me that maybe a second-line playmaker for the Vancouver Canucks actually would benefit us. Other than that, I think this team actually looks pretty solid. You got 2 really good studs on offense. You got a pretty solid defensive core, maybe a tweak here and there. Your goaltending issue seems fine with Ryan Miller and Eddie Lack and or Markstrom. It looks either one of those guys you put in that still looks pretty solid. So let me know what you guys' thoughts are in the comment section down below. Other than that, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time with our next episode of GM Mode.